and down to I forgot, I think it is. It's down at the end of Route 9.
I think this is better. They got it right in front of, did you move this? I thought it was over here a little bit more.
The chair just kind of slide
Oh,
over.
yeah,
I
slide over
moved
this
it
way,
over a little,
okay.
yeah.
I think it's better.
Yeah.
Right in front of it, so,
Just
and you know what, I have, hearing aids, so I got them cranked up so I can hear everybody, but sometimes,
any of the noise.
like Al Taylor is so soft-spoken, I can't even hear him.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go out to dinner, usually we like to eat well, because otherwise he can
Oh,
Yep.
I used to actually,
a new one.
The clerk informs me that we do have a quorum. This is a calling to order a meeting of the Board of Finance. This is a special meeting, Wednesday, September 6th, 2023. Are there any public comments relative to agenda items? Any public comments relative to agenda items? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes of July 10th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none? All in favor of accepting minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 4, consideration of potential action regarding the authorization for project grant agreement, Clean Water Fund 747-PG. There's an attachment with this. Is there somebody from staff that wants to talk about this, Scott?
Bob, you got that?
Sure. I can talk.
Sure, you have 3 requests in front of you this evening. The first one is the 747-PG. This is a grant-only authorization. We come before the board and get your permission to, recommendation to the full board, and then the board gives us permission to accept all grants and to enter into any and all loan agreements. And so this particular one is for the preliminary design for the sewer separation projects. It's a grant amount in totaling $519,949.65. That's the first one.
Is there any questions from members of the committee regarding this item? I see that the bond council has prepared the following resolution. It's recommended that it be voted that the Board of Finance recommends to the district board passage the following resolution from bond council. Unless someone objects, we won't read the whole resolution. You got it in front of you. If there are no further questions, we'd ask a motion for the resolution.
So moved, Adel.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Unanimous. Item number 2. I'm sorry, it's still under, it's item number 5.
Yep.
Consideration of potential action regarding authorization for interim funding obligation and/or project loan agreement with Clean Water Fund 746-C. Go ahead, Bob.
Sure, and this is one similar to the last, but the last one was grant only. This is a grant and loan, and it's executed for a total amount of $7.1 million to fund the labor, equipment, fees, and permits, and other related costs necessary for our large diameter rehabilitation program, Phase 2. Susan said if you have any questions about Phase 2, she can tell you. But as a finance agenda item, we're simply asking for authorization to enter into this grant and loan agreement.
So the loan, the funding comes from the state Clean Water Fund, is that correct?
That's correct, at a rate of 2%.
Are there any questions? Any questions for the staff? Well, again, the bond council has prepared the following resolution for our approval, and it's recommended that it be voted that the Board of Finance recommends to the District Board passage of the following resolution from bond council. Again, we won't read it into the record. It's before you. If you have any questions? Hearing none, we'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
Commissioner Curry, move
Yep,
approval.
go ahead, Commissioner.
You said you moved approval.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Are there any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. And, let's see, there's a third item, right? The item number 6 is consideration and potential action regarding authorization for the amendment to interim funding obligation and/or project loan agreement, Clean Water Fund 719-C.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This one's a little different than the previous two because this is an amendment. The original agreement was voted upon on December 17th, 1921, that stated a loan and grant amount and a completion date of June 30th, 2023. This amendment is adding $523,000 to the loan authorization that you gave us back in 21 and $130,000 to the grant portion. So the total amounts are showing in the authorization, but the bulk of it was already approved in 21. We're only asking for the incremental amount that provides these two new totals. And then the new completion date is shown on this resolution in front of you as November 30th of 23.
Scott, this is for work at the plant itself, at the water pollution control plant?
The DAF tank rehabilitation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are there any other questions? Bob, I assume that the interest rate stayed the same, that the additional amount is not?
It does.
It's
It
the
does. Well, the grant money, of course, is free. It's a free extra 130,000, but the interest rate for the additional 523,000 remains at 2%.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I do.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Just, Bob, if you just give me the bottom line, the grand total obligation.
Is $11,783,000 is the loan portion at 2%. That's in the first paragraph. And then there's an accompanying grant for $2,945,000. So in total, it's a little over $14 million.
Thank you.
Sure.
Are there any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Curry.
Go ahead, Commissioner Curry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a procedural question, because this is an amendment. Should we approve the amendment? Do we need to go back and approve what was approved in 2021 as amended?
The amendment is.
This is John Myrtle. The resolution as written appropriately does that. So there's no need, nobody needs to make a motion to amend.
It's as amended.
Correct.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, Chair would ask for a motion to
Move adoption.
approve it.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed or abstentions? All right. None. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 7 is a report regarding the recent bond sale. I understand this report's going to come from you, Bob? Is that?
Yes. And this is a quick 3-slide presentation. I know you got a lot of this information in an email, but we thought we'd celebrate our success with this overview. Over the summer, we needed to raise about $85 million for our capital improvement projects for water, sewer, and combined is a category for like fleet and facilities that service both. And so we decided to have a competitive sale of tax-exempt general obligation bonds. The process we do is we get a bond rating. This year it was at the end of June. Then we sell our bonds at the end of July. And then we have a closing, just like when you buy a house on August 10th, where we bring in the funds. So the next slide details
Next slide.
I'll wait till the next slide comes up. What happened with the rating? The rating, we actually got an upgrade from Moody's. This is the second year in a row that we've gotten an upgrade from our rating agencies. Moody's upgraded our general obligations bonds from AA3 to AA2. In the previous year, in 2022, S&P upgraded AA- to AA on our revenue bonds. So this really bodes well for us when we go to market, and then we're trying to command the lowest possible interest rate. You'll see in the second bullet in yellow are all-in costs for issuing the close to, $86.2 million last year to the $84.8 million this year. In yellow, it was 0.1% higher. Now I know this is a long-term 20-year debt, but just as a guidepost, during that same year, the Fed for the overnight funds went up 3 full percent, from 2.5% to 5.5%. So we fared really well. The last bullet point, I enjoyed putting this up here because we beat Norwalk's debt issue each of the last 2 years. Last year and this year, we issued within days of each other for approximately the same amount of money in each year. They're a AAA rated credit, and they did a negotiated sale. And we're a AA rated credit, a lower credit rating, but we beat their total interest cost in each of the years. But this year we beat them by over 1/3 of a percentage point, and last year we beat them by over 1/4 of a percentage point. That's the value in doing a competitive sale. So that was a fun bullet to write. And then the last slide.
If I may, Mr. Chairman. Bob, can you just expound on that? So this is important because we were doing negotiated sales for a number of years, and we were not, although we were getting good rates, negotiating the sale, you're paying more, to negotiate. So in terms of negotiating the sale, what is the delta dollar amount? If we would have had to negotiate this sale, how much would we have paid in bond counsel?
Well, let's take a look at the next slide because I detail that on the second. We'll go to the second bullet. So in 2021, we did 2 negotiated sales. In August, we spent about $344,000 for the ratings and the bond counsel fees and the municipal advisors and the like. $344,000 in August, and we spent $537,000 in November. Look what we achieved last year and this year with our competitive sales. $202,000 this year and $209,000 in 2022. So not only did we beat the true interest cost, which only includes the underwriter's fee, But we also beat the all-in interest costs, which includes all of these cost of issuance, our COI costs. But to be able to get a lower interest rate overall and save upwards of, $300,000-$400,000 in cost of issuance, we're really providing the biggest bang for our borrowing dollars with this type of sale. The first bullet point is the reason why I felt comfortable recommending a competitive sale is because usually you do a negotiated sale when there's really something a little wrong with your credit, and you want to negotiate with the buyers, the underwriters, and let them know of your certain situation because you might not have good market access. However, in 2021, we had over 10 people bidding for our debt, and I knew that we didn't have trouble accessing the market then, and it was borne out in 2022 and 2023. You'll see in 2022, we had 11 bidders, and it looks like Mesero Financial was the lowest bidder in green. And then in 2023, we actually had 12 bidders on our debt, and JP Morgan Securities was the low bid. So that's the reason why we've been so successful, because we no longer have a market access problem, if we ever did. And so we're really achieving some great results. But that's it, just a 3-slide overview of our success this summer. And we plan on, in general, issuing about $100 million a year, only one time a year. It really cuts down on the issuance costs, and I think we'll have similar results in the future as well.
Great.
So Bob, the 1/10 of 1% is like the market rate moving up, has nothing to do with the quality of our.
Well, I think it may have, because remember in 2023 we actually got an upgrade from Moody's from a AA3 to a AA2 on general obligation debt, and we issued general obligation debt this year, and so that ratings increase did help the rate. And remember, if we go back a slide, that 1/10 of 1% is MDC 22 compared to MDC 23. So our cost of borrowing for roughly $90 million year over year went up less than 1/10 of 1%. So yeah, we did really well.
I think that's exceptional. Anybody here with a HELOC knows that you're not going to get a new one for 1/10 of 1%. So
Yeah.
more than the last one. So, but anyway, thank you, Bob. And are there any questions for Bob on the bond sale? This doesn't require an action on our part, but just a report from Bob, and appreciate it. Thank you very much. And like you said, it bodes well for the district to continue to do this, and the competitive sale thing. There's some risk in it, but not when you figure it all out before you decide to do it. And that's what I appreciate that you did, Bob. Thank you. So item number 8 is opportunity for general public comments. Are there any general public comments? This is a special meeting, so would they have to be on this meeting? The comments have to be on what was transacted at this meeting because it's a special meeting, or it could be,
that
could be a
item
general
is- yeah,
comment.
can
Okay.
be generally anything.
Okay. Are there any general public comments? Hearing none, move on to item number 9. Commissioner request for future agenda items. Are there any requests for future agenda items for the Board of Finance?
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
But-
At our last Water Bureau meeting, we talked about the master plan, the water master plan, and we agreed to do a joint special meeting with Board of Finance and the Water Bureau, so we can
We
talk
did?
about. Yeah.
I don't remember doing that.
We did.
I
No, yeah,
honestly don't remember.
No, it's
doing it.
okay. But we talked about it quickly, that we need, this is a big decision. We're talking about spending $400 million over 30 years or $700 million over 30 years, depending on which option. We really want to focus with the Water Bureau and Board of Finance and talk about the process to make a decision. We're not asking you to make a decision at this meeting, but it's just a process to make a decision, because this will require about $47 million investment over the next 7 years. And then the larger projects, which will require referendum. So we're going to need, a chairman recommended that we go out to our towns and we solicit their support on this as well. I completely agree. So I'd like to have a special meeting just to talk about the water master plan. I've asked Bob we've talked about this in the past, and look in developing a rate stabilization fund similar to the Clean Water Fund, Rate Stabilization Fund. We are expecting a very good budget this year in terms of the rate increase on ad valorem, and we're also expecting very good results on our water rates. So if there is a situation like we had last year where we had 28 cents giving back to reduce the water rate, we're going to propose to use that, some of it, all of it, to start and develop a rate stabilization fund for this master plan. Because if we don't do that, this $47 million that we need to spend over the next 7 years will raise the rate about 14 cents. So we want to, in a sense, pay go. And we're hopeful that our revenue, and I don't want to, say too much because we haven't had the Board of Finance meeting yet for the budget, but we're in very good shape with the budget this year, and so we just like to talk about it.
Sure, if there's some sort of plans for a joint meeting, I don't know exactly what they are, but if the expectation is there's going to be no action at the meeting.
No action.
Yeah, it's just.
Nope, just information.
So it won't require quorums or
Nope.
of either, and I think all you got to decide is, who's going to chair the meeting or conduct the meeting, so. Okay, are there any other requests for future agenda items? Hearing none, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor, or without objection? Meeting's adjourned.